Portfolio Committee on Water and Sanitation has called for an urgent review of Johannesburg's financial management model, saying it's impeding on key service providers like Joburg Water. During an oversight visit, the committee questioned city officials about the missing 4 billion rand that was meant for Joburg Water, but never reached the entity. For more, we're joined by the committee chairperson, Basson. Leon, thank you so much for the time. That oversight visit, very necessary considering the recent protests we've had in and around the Johannesburg and broader Gauteng area. Let's talk about the particular infrastructure failures you were seeing. Even if you look at areas like, Brixton, Crosby, Hurst Hill, etc., those have always been problematic areas.
That's correct, yes. The problem that we've seen is that they've got beautiful plans, but the problem is they cannot fund that. We have visited the Brixton Reservoir and Brixton Tower, which is 95% completed, but also with a lot of problems where contractors has not been paid due to the fact that they don't have money within Joburg Water. And this is where the 4 billion rand comes to play. We now established as a committee that the 4 billion is on paper. They've swept that account on a daily basis, but they don't put the money back. So they don't have enough funds to back up their plans to fix the problem in Johannesburg. And that is something critical for us. So the committee will now continue to speak to National Treasury as well as the Auditor General. We need to make sure that now, as a matter of urgency, we get Joburg Water's funds for water and sanitation ring-fenced, and that it cannot be used for something else. We need to get water in the pipes of the community of Joburg, and that process will continue. We will summons the mayor of Joburg back after our discussions with National Treasury to make sure that we are all on the same page and that Joburg implement the funds that is ring-fenced for water and sanitation and not for something else in Joburg.
Yeah, it's very difficult to understand some of the accountability mechanisms that are also at play here. Because when we start speaking about this 4 billion rand budget allocation to Joburg Water, and then you see the discrepancy with what's happening on the ground, it feels like there literally is nothing. Where is that money going?
It's going to salaries, pension funds, parks, roads, all over the show, but not for water.
And I mean, at this point, is that to say then that we don't have enough money allocated to Joburg Water, or is it just a complete mismanagement of that funding?
Well, it's a mismanagement of the funding. The money that has been allocated. Remember, when you get your bill, you will see that you pay for water and a tariff for water and sewer. That is the money that needs to be allocated to water and be paid over to water, because people are paying only one account. So it's a consolidated account that's been paid. That needs to be then transferred to Joburg Water, the portion of the water and sanitation, and that's not being done. So that is the biggest problem that we see, is that they use this as a cash cow to fund other projects within Joburg that is not related to water at all.
Yeah, so you're taking from one source to feed off another in many ways here. Should we be relooking at the procurement processes here as well? Because that seems to be an issue not just in water and sanitation, but really across the country. How key and pivotal is it that we fix that and hopefully we get some answers?
Now, that is the biggest problem, that the financial model is not sustainable anymore. That model they were running according to their own figures since the early 2000s. And therefore, it is important for us now to have this meeting with National Treasury. We need to implement a new model. The old model is not working. We need to implement a model where we ring-fence funds, whether it's electricity or water and sanitation. That money must be ring-fenced, and that money must be used to maintain the water infrastructure in all the municipalities, not only Joburg, but that needs to be rolled out now, but very urgently in Joburg, to make sure that we can fund the models and the plans, the turnaround strategy that they have to get that funded. And if we cannot do that, we're going to get into bigger troubles as a few months coming ahead of us.
Yeah, especially because we're in the summer months very soon, and that can be quite water consuming as well. A revised funding strategy is going to be needed as well to be, let's call it, more reactive as opposed to, or rather proactive as opposed to reactive to the things that are kind of happening at this stage. How quickly can we get that done? Because it just feels like we keep speaking about things. Much the same way as you've said that plans are always in place, comments and conversations are also always in place, but action seems few and far between.
We hope to have a meeting with National Treasury within the next 10 days, and the process then will be in the hands of Joburg Water and National Treasury. But I really believe that we can, within the next 60 days, get that plan into place. I think also Joburg Water now realizes that, they've told us 4 different versions of where this 4 billion is. We have cut them down now to where that money is. It's only on paper. It's not in the bank. We'll do a PIA as well as a committee to make sure that we get all the relevant information before we meet with National Treasury. And Joburg Water will also be invited to that meeting. They can come with their bank statements to show us where that money is. But we are confident now that we know on their own version of the mayor that money has been utilized to pay for salaries and pension funds, and medical aid and Rand Water. And if there's money left, they'll make sure they can pay that money that's left to contractors, which is not happening currently.
Yeah.
And that is something we'll need to address very urgently.
What role can public-private partnerships play here, especially in accelerating that infrastructure drive that is needed to secure our water supply?
Well, that is the way to go in South Africa, is get the public sector involved, not only in funding, but also in owning infrastructure. So that is a model that needs to be revisited. The Minister of Water and Sanitation has already announced with the Water in Dada that the public must play a bigger role in the water sector, because we are looking at in a region of 800 to 900 billion rand over the next 10 years that must be invested in our water infrastructure in South Africa.
In trying to get the private sector, however, to be a part of this, one of the key things they will look at is the capabilities, efficiencies, and the ability for any staff members to actually uphold and complete the tasks at hand. And yet, we're talking about a water and sanitation department that has the highest vacancy rate in government. Those staff shortages, when do we get to fix those? And what's the key issue in hiring?
Well, it comes back to the funding model. If you don't have funds, you can't hire people. And that's where it's important for us to get Joburg. Already got an entity that is separate from Joburg. Now we just need to ring fence that money. They indicated to us that they've got sufficient staff, but you can have the staff and you can pay their salaries, but if you don't have funds to maintain your infrastructure, that will be a problem. But there will be much more security for the private sector if the entity has been ring-fenced and a utility on its own, and the funds are ring-fenced, that they can get involved in that, because then it's not been run by the larger municipalities at all.
Yeah. Look, Leon, there's so much still at play here, and this department is absolutely critical. So the questions you ask, the kind of oversight you do for this one is one that we will need to see really happen quite ostensibly. the Gauteng oversight visit for Water and Sanitation's Committee. Leon Basson, the chair of the Water and Sanitation Parliamentary Committee.